Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is Pickle Brined Chicken Wings. All right guys, today we're gonna jump right into our chicken wing recipe, starting by making our pickle brine from scratch. That's right, the exact same kind of pickle brine you would make dill pickles with, we're gonna be soaking our chicken wings in before we cook them on the grill. And to top it all off, we've got a homemade buttermilk ranch dressing. I'll be making about a gallon of brine, starting with white vinegar. So we're gonna do equal parts vinegar and water, but instead of the water today, we're gonna use ice. That way we can cool the brine down quickly. So it's just the vinegar that's going in the pot, not the water. And then we're gonna add to that 3/4 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of pickling salt, and then our aromatics. I've got a couple teaspoons of black peppercorns, a couple teaspoons of coriander seeds, a couple teaspoons of mustard seeds, a couple of bay leaves, and I'm going to do a couple teaspoons of Code 3 Spices Grunt Rub. Nice garlic flavor, some pepper, some salt. And then just to bring a little bit of heat, we've got one arbol chili. I'm going to crack that open. And then from here, we just want to bring this up to a boil. We're going to let this simmer away just for a few minutes, just long enough to make sure that all of the sugar and salt get dissolved and all those flavors start to work together in this brine. In the meantime, we can go weigh out our ice so that we have an equal amount of ice as we do vinegar. So knowing that 2 quarts of water is going to weigh about 4 pounds. That's what we're gonna put into our briner bucket. And then we're gonna prepare the last 2 items that are gonna go into this brine. So we've got about 1 ounce of dill here. We'll just do a rough chop on that. And then 1/4 cup of garlic cloves. And these we're just gonna smash. No chopping involved. All right, so this has kind of been simmering away for a couple minutes now. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the heat. And as soon as I do that, I'm gonna throw in all of that dill and garlic. And we're just gonna let that kind of soak in there for about 5 minutes before we move on. Ooh, instantly aromatic. Smell that dill right off the bat. So this really is a fantastic brine for pickles. So if you wanted to, you could use some of this. Go ahead and cut up some cucumbers and make yourself some pickles. Or for what we're doing today, this gallon of brine is gonna work for about 5 pounds of chicken wings. So we've got our wings here. These are whole wings that we're gonna divide down into the individual pieces today. So I'll start by taking off the tips, and then we're gonna work right in between the two. And if you pop these, you can see right where that knuckle is, and you're just gonna cut right in between them. So I'm just gonna take all of these apart while we're waiting on that dill and garlic to kind of soak into the brine. Now we've let that dill and garlic soak in the brine. We're gonna pour that all over our ice and just stir this until that ice starts to melt, and most of it will melt down. Now once most of that ice has melted, you start adding your chicken wings in. Not all of the ice needs to be melted, but most of it should be. Then we'll lock our plate into place to keep the wings submerged and throw this in the refrigerator for at least 4 hours. 4 hours is pretty ideal, but I know that's not always really convenient if you're going to work for the day or something, so you can leave these in there 8 hours, they'll be fine. I've gone as long as about 15 hours and found that the brine starts to chemically cook the chicken and change the texture of it, although the flavor was really nice and super pronounced. But I think something less than that would be most ideal. So we're gonna go in that 4 to 8 hour range. Next, we're gonna put together a buttermilk ranch dressing for a dipping sauce for those wings. So we're gonna start with a cup of sour cream. Add to that a cup of mayonnaise, and then a cup of buttermilk. Next, we're just gonna do a rough chop on some parsley. We're looking to add about a 1/2 cup of parsley. Also gonna do a couple tablespoons here of chives. Then we've got 1 clove of garlic. We'll just smash that down. We're also gonna add a couple teaspoons here, Worcestershire sauce, and lemon juice. And then here's an optional step, but I like to add just a little bit of hot sauce for that vinegar kick. We've got the Killer Hogs hot sauce today. You're gonna want just a shake of salt. We're using the hickory smoked salt, a little bit of black pepper, and we can adjust those after we blend this all up. But we're just gonna give that a good blitz until it's smooth. Give it a scrape one time. So fresh tasting with all those herbs in there. Really doesn't need any more salt. I think just a touch of black pepper and maybe a little bit more hot sauce would be great. But otherwise, that's right where we want it. And I want you guys to see the consistency. This is not a super thick and creamy ranch dressing. I want it to be thin enough that when I dunk a wing into this sauce, it doesn't just grab all of the dressing and you're overwhelmed by ranch. It should be just a thin layer on the outside of the wing. So transfer this over to a storage container, throw it into the fridge until ready to use. This is good for up to a week. Well, the wings have been soaking up that brine for about 4 hours now, so we're gonna get them out of that briner bucket, pat them dry, get some seasoning on them, and right onto the grill. So this brine is almost like a marinade as well, since we are breaking down the chicken wing with both acid and salt, which means we get the best of both worlds and tons of flavor. So we want to get most of that moisture off the surface. A little bit left behind is fine. It'll work as a binder as we go to season these wings. Now I really want to let that dill pickle flavor shine on these wings today, so we're going to season these very simply with just a little bit of hickory smoked salt and some black pepper. Today we're cooking on the 640S. We're running at 450 degrees. We're using pecan and cherry pellets. And we're running nice and hot today because we're gonna be grilling these off. There's no smoking involved. Now, if you wanna smoke your wings, that's great. Just make sure you finish them off with a high heat sear. That way you're not chewing on that rubbery skin, which is exactly what you'll have if you cook at smoking temperatures all the way through. So we're gonna go directly on our grill grates. We've got the door removed on our 2-piece diffuser so that we can get some direct flame on the chicken as well. We'll get some nice color from the grill grate grill marks. Flip these over, and we're gonna take them to an internal temperature of about 170 today. So this is about 8 minutes into the cook now. We're getting some nice grill marks, a little bit of color, a little bit of caramelization happening. So we're gonna flip these around. We do the same thing on the other side. And no matter what kind of grill that you're cooking on, I'd recommend you go ahead and put these drumettes over the hotter part. So you'll see how out here to the edges we have the wingettes or the flats, and then the drumettes we put over the direct heat because they take just a little bit longer to cook, and that way things kind of even out. All right, we've been plucking these guys off one by one as they come up to 170. You can see we're creeping close on a lot of them. And the key here is to find the deepest part of the meat where you're not hitting the bone, and that's the part that you want to be right around 170. So these guys can pop up to about even 175 would be fine. So similar to like chicken thighs and legs, this meat's a lot better, a much more silky texture when it's a little bit higher in temperature, whereas a breast you might want it at like 160. We get these things up to that 170 to 175 range. That meat just slips right off the bone when you go to take a bite. All right, so we're gonna get some sauce in there, a little bit of that ranch dressing. And top it off with a few chives. Ah, the aroma's killing me. We gotta take a bite. All right, I'm a flat man myself. I'm going with the flat first. Get a good dunk. Perfect texture. It tastes like a dill pickle, that's crazy. It's not overwhelming, it's incredibly delicious. It's got just the right amount of crunch to it, and the freshness of that ranch dressing is unbelievable. That's gonna do it for Pickle Brined Chicken Wings. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do us a favor and go over to allthingsbbq.com to check out all of the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed that recipe, hit the subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.